Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So before we get started on the topic of this video, I just wanted to read a quote by Thomas Sowell today. It says, "When you want to help people, you tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear." And I think my mistake in life is I actually wanted to help people, so I tell them the truth, and they get angry at me. And maybe I should have want to help myself first, kind of like when you're in an airplane. They tell you put your mask on first before a child. Uh, Maybe that was kind of like my mistake in life. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to tell you my experiences just as a person, right? Just as a normal person in society. Um, One of the things that always used to get me is when people used to make bad decisions and that I thought didn't make any sense and that were not for their benefit, right? Kind of like doing drugs. Like, don't do drugs, right? And I know there's a lot of people out there doing drugs, but another thing that kind of really got to me is people wanted to be praised for things that they never did, right? And you see this a lot, especially in schools nowadays, where it's very normal where as a teacher, you get pressure to give good grades to kids because you don't want any complaints from either the admin, parents, the students themselves. And it's a crazy time that we live in right now because, we're essentially experiencing the fallback of bad social policy started as probably at least 15 years ago. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you this YouTube video right here. Well, I'm not going to actually show it because I just don't like to play other YouTube videos. But if you look for Branford Marcellus on students, there's a great clip from a documentary called Before the Music Dies. And I remember watching that documentary, and I wasn't really, it didn't really resonate with me. But man, this clip really resonated with me because a lot of people don't like me, right? And reason why a lot of don't like me is because I keep it real, and I don't know what for whatever reason people just don't like it when you keep it real, and that's why like my YouTube channel is kind of the same as my social life in the sense that I don't have too many followers, even though I got a good healthy number of views. I have a small hardcore audience, right? And I don't know if I'll ever reach 100 or 200,000 subs. I don't know, but it's been true for my entire life where 95% of people don't like me, but I got this really small percentage, like this 5%, who are really into me, right? And one of the reasons I think that it is because I actually want to help people and tell them the truth and um, make sure that they're on the right path, but sometimes people lash out on you. I maybe have realized that too late many times in my life, and but here's the thing, I'm not the only one who realized that most people don't want to be helped, right? We got Thomas Sowell telling you that, and I'm gonna go over this clip about Branford Marcellus. If you don't know who he is, he's like a master musician, I think saxophonist, and uh, it's crazy what he says in that clip. And this is from like 2008, right? 15 years ago. So some of you watching this might have been even born after then, right? And you probably were born in a dysfunctional world that was not prepared, that did not care about your success or future, is what I'm saying, right? And so basically, I'm going to show you a transcript, and he says in the video, what I learned from my students is from students today are completely full of S. This is what I learned from my students. Much so the question is, what did you have you learned from your students, right? So he's answering that question. This is what I learned from the students. Much like the generation before them. So again, he's a little bit older, and especially 2008, he should be much older now, just like I'm older. The only thing that they're really interested in is you tell them how right they are and how good they are. That's the same mentality that forces Harvard to give out B's to people that don't deserve them out of fear that they'll go to other schools that'll give them B's and those schools will make the money. And this is the most important quote, right? We live in a country that seems to be in this massive state of delusion where the idea of what you are is more important than you actually being that. It's insanely profound. You ever notice that so many people suck at their job, but they highly identify with it? I think about that every time I see that, right? Like the idea of what you are is more important than you actually being that, right? And this is why, like, whenever you hear me talk, I don't exaggerate about what it is I do. I tell, some people like, how many rental houses you have? I ain't gonna tell you if I don't have 20 unless I actually have 20 rental houses, right? I got two properties, right? I got my own and I got a rental house. And I know about real estate, right? You don't have to have 20 properties to know about real estate, you know? But some people are kind of forcing you to be dishonest so that you could live up to their standards that they don't even live up to. It's crazy, right? So, where the idea of what you are is more important than you actually being that, and it actually works just as long as everybody's winking at the same time. And if person stops winking, you just beat the crap out of that person, and they either start winking or go someone else. And I think this has been me for a long time because I'm just too lazy to be dishonest and wink to everybody that, hey, you're actually good at what you do when you suck, right? My students, all they want to hear is how good they are and how talented they are. Most of them aren't really worked or aren't willing to work to the degree to live up to that. Oh boy, you know, if he said this today, he'd probably be, I don't know, probably kicked out of the country or something. I mean, like, I think I suffered far too many times because I was naive, and I had no idea people were this delusional. Like, people would try to tear me down, tell me how bad I am, but for whatever reason, I gotta tell them how good they are. It's kind of weird how narcissistic a lot of people are, where they can do something to you, but you fight back and they're like completely shocked, right? It's crazy how stupid a lot of people have become. And the other thing too is that a lot of these problems were identified many years ago, and I think we're experiencing the fallout of that today, right? Like it's kind of like when someone tells you, "Hey, there's a water leak in your house," right? And there's two things that you can do: fix it or not fix it. And I've come to the conclusion that if people, let's say, you have a rental house and a tenant reports a water leak, there's probably a good number of landlords out there who just argue with the tenant that's their fault and not fix the house, right? And all you had to do was just fix the problem, not be delusional and keep it real. But most people didn't want to do that. Most people didn't want to do that, and this is probably why like a lot of people have gotten angry at me because I just noticed like they just want to be delusional and they don't want to keep it real, right? Now back to my point with with the whole tenant landlord story. I'm pretty sure there's a good number of landlords out there who, when the tenant reports a water leak, they'll just argue with the tenant and not fix it. And then guess what happens? Your house is destroyed eventually by the water leak. All you have to do is just fix it. And it could just have been a really easy fix. So would you rather pay a plumber, maybe a couple hundred at max to fix it for their time, or tens of thousands of dollars because you wanted to argue with the tenant about whose fault it is, right? And then tenant moved out of the house anyways. But that's how stupid people are. They don't just do a basic cost benefit analysis, and then they wonder why our society is a mess, right? And it could be found in many things, if it's music, film, and this is actually happening in film nowadays a lot, where you never notice that people are attacking fans of franchises now. Like it's this weird thing where, um, it's probably a fault of my generation, or at least started with my generation, where we took over long-standing franchises like Star Wars or something like that, and then the fans didn't like the direction, and they started attacking the fans. And all they had to do was give the fans what they wanted, but they thought they could do anything they want. Same way video games too. So I can't stand playing video games anymore. But again, my students, all they want to hear is how good they are and talented they are. Most of them aren't really willing to work to the degree to live up to that, right? And the guy who this guy Joey Davila, he says he's probably a music teacher too. He says I see an attitude of Marcellus students everywhere, right? Not just in music, but just everywhere. Kind of sad, but I'm always a little bit heartbroken when I always want to help people and they don't, and here's the thing. I actually talked to somebody yesterday on a one-on-one Zoom call. It's really interesting, and he told me about how he paid off a lot of debt, like including his car, with Velocity Banking, and he actually resonated with a lot of things I said, basically about you try to share this information with your friends and family, and they might be struggling, but man, it doesn't seem like they're receptive to the message, and that's kind of sad too. But I'll be honest. One of the things that I want to do, but I have no idea how to do. And again, that's why I say like the attitude behind your motive is so important. Is I want to help people, but I don't think they want to be helped. And that's the sad part, right? It always gets to me when people get on a one-on-one Zoom call and then just waste my time when I tell them, "Hey, this is how I can help." And they're completely rejecting what I'm saying, and they tell me, "Well, I want to do what I want to do." I'm like, "Dude, why'd you even get on a phone call with me?" Right? There's ways to kind of like, say, "Hey, I don't want what you're offering, and I'm okay with it." But people are almost like offensive with me, or like they're on the offense with me, and act like whatever I'm offering is completely worthless. Yet they're probably the ones watching my videos the most, right? It's kind of sad how the society is, right? All right, well that's it for this video. I don't want to make it too depressing, but again, if you have been wondering where we've been going as a society, it's been like this for a long time, and most people are quite delusional. And I don't think this is going to stop anytime soon. I'm going to be honest with you. But at least for those who are interested in learning and going to, a path that's not going to cause them a lot of struggle and suffering, good for you, right? Good for you. And here's the thing: if you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google Form link below. You get on one-on-one Zoom call with me, and then we'll talk about if you want to learn about financial literacy and real estate education. And if you're not interested in that, then don't click the Google Form link below. Other than that, have a great day, and we'll speak next time.